Hello and welcome to this session as we're progressing in our project. Today we're going to talk about importing data. So let's go ahead and share the screen so we could kind of see the file that we're importing. So on the Kinsey Tech website where we're doing this exercise, you're going to be able to see what we're importing on there. So let's review this together. We have a file. The format is a CSV, comma separated values, or comma delimited, it's also called. That has the data. It has the car make, the car model, the year, the price, the color, number of cylinders, and mileage. When you're loading data, there's certain things. Number one, it's what we call ETL, extraction, transformation, and loading process. In the case of Salesforce, we could just go through the import, or we can use something called data loader. There's other products by other companies like SSIS, SQL Server Integrated Services, which is also an ETL tool, and Informatica, which is an IBM tool, and so on. However, there's certain concepts. The first one is extraction, transformation, loading. Extraction means I need to know my source and my destination. Where am I getting the data from? Where am I taking it to? I'm getting it from a CSV file that has this data. Where am I moving it to? I'm moving it into a Salesforce object called Fort Dodge, which is the name of our company. Second step is the mapping. The mapping is basically saying, I have a field in Excel called year. I want that data to go to the object field called year. I have a field called price, and I want it to go to the field called price in Salesforce. I have a field called color, and I want it to go to the color field in Salesforce. However, mapping is going to fail because, well, automatic one, because it's going to say, I have a field called car model, but in Salesforce, I don't have a field called car model. I have a field called model, though. So automatically, it's not going to find a field called car model. What do I need to do? I need to manually map it and say anything in car model goes to what's actually called model. So we're going to do some manual mapping. Finally, the file is going to fail. We want to learn how to troubleshoot importing issues because we're going to give you two files, one that's going to load successfully, one that's going to fail. And we want to find out why they fail. This is a very important thing. We want to find out why do they fail, some of the examples of why they fail, and how to find out if it failed. So let's go ahead and do this together. We're going to go to Salesforce. I can either load from the object itself, so I have the Fort Dodge object, and I can click import, or I can go through my setup and search for import, and under integrations, I will find data import wizard, click on it, and then I'll find launch wizard. Either way, I'm going to end up in the screen looking like this. If it's a standard object I'm importing to, but in this case, it's a custom object. It's our dealership, Fort Dodge's object. If I'm loading new, let's say whether it's accounts or in this case, vehicles, I'm going to click on add new records. If let's say I have accounts and I'm changing the contact telephone numbers, for example. So all I'm doing is updating. So I'll choose update. In some cases, I can have new vehicles and existing vehicles, but we're updating some information about the vehicles. Car got repainted from white to green. So in that case, I'll choose the last one. If it's new, it adds a new one. If it's a changed one, it will update the existing one. In this case, we're just adding new records. So now I need to choose the file, and you're going to be able to download the file from the website, the exercise at Kinsey Tech. So let's go ahead and take the file that we're going to try. Again, like I said, there's a file that's going to fail. There's a file that's going to work. Let's click next. What do I need to do? I need to click on map so I can map my data. So this one year goes year in the CSV goes to year, and Salesforce color goes to color. It gives us some sample data to verify it. But in this case, mapping, let's go ahead and map car model. This is supposed to go to car model, supposed to go to model. So in Salesforce, I'm going to click on model, highlight it, map, and now it's mapped. Car make, I need to choose make, sure enough, mapped. Next, let's start importing. If the file is too huge, it might take a few minutes and send us an email once it's done. If it's a smaller file, very quickly, you can just reload and you'll get your update. And sure enough, well, right now it's queued, which means it's going to take some time to process. So while it's loading, let's go ahead and look at some of the issues that happen. When a file fails, by default, you're going to have an error message that says view request and view result. if it's, how do I know it failed? I'm going to have records failed and then a number next to it. So let's say 4 records failed. It's going to say 4. Click on view result, and it's going to open a file, and the file is going to show me what those error messages are. But let's look at some of the reasons something could fail. Number one is data conversion. If you're exporting data from from converting it from Excel to CSV in some cases, or exporting it from Oracle into a CSV or SQL, and there's different kind of character conversions and so on, you might end up with something like this, where I have an extra character after the year, an extra character after the year. If I try and load it, it's going to say, nope, this is not a valid number. This is not a valid value. It's not going to be able to load, and it's going to highlight where that error is. Another example is here I have 8 cylinders. Suppose I mistyped and typed in 12. Now, if this is going into a text field, it will work perfectly. It's a text field. I have freeform. I can put what I want. However, this is a pick list. The pick list has 3 valid values, 4, 6, 8. So if you put 12, it's not going to work, even though it's the right text, but it's because it's not in the pick list. I cannot load it. Mileage is numeric. Suppose I put ABC. Am I going to be able to load it? No, it's not numeric, so it's not going to load. Let's say the year is a year, and I go in and put ABC. It's not going to load. Now, this seems very funny and easy, but in real life, you'll be surprised at the number of times it happens on a regular basis, daily, weekly, monthly, where files are received and you try and load them, you get the error messages, and you have to go back and troubleshoot it. That's why it's a very valuable moment to go through this. Import and export is very easy, but at this point, we just want to pinpoint some of the commonly issues that you're going to find, and it's very easy to find it because you would have view request and view result. If there's an error message, it's going to be a view result file. You can go in and see what that result looks like. So I'm going to open an older one that I have. So now as we can go, we'll see the view request, view result. Records processed are 7, records failed are 0, which means nothing failed, status completed. So everything was processed successfully. We should have 7 records. How do we do that? Let's go ahead and verify it by going to For Dodge and refresh it. And we should see that all of our records are here. Well, let's display it a little bit more friendlier. So we're going to go in and select fields to display. Sure enough, you can see the 7 records that we attempted to load. All right, hope you guys enjoyed it. Enjoy your project. Thank you for joining us in today's session. We hope that you enjoyed it, and we'd like to invite you to a lot of our free sessions. Simply visit our website at kinseytech.com/events. Thank you again.